Style Podcast. Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Sacred Style Podcast, a safe space where we get real and go deep to explore the intersection of modern spirituality, entrepreneurship, identity, and purpose. Hosted by intuitive artist and entrepreneur Daniela West, join us as we explore the transformational journey of becoming more fully you, whole, healed, and human. Hey there, and welcome to the Sacred Style Podcast. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the journey of self-discovery through brand building, artistry, and using the voice to find your voice. So I'm super excited to expand more on this topic today. We'll be speaking with artist and my dear friend and vocal coach, Jarreau Williams. Jarreau Williams is a 5-time Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter, actor, entertainer, event producer, and vocal coach. The Alexandria, Virginia native has performed in various stage, film, commercial, industrial, voiceover, and television projects. Jarreau's vocal talents have led to singing background for 4-time Grammy Award winner Michael Bublé, singing with President Barack Obama and the First Family, in attendance during an MLK church celebration, performing at weddings and corporate events worldwide, and opening for 4 nationally touring artists, including Grammy Award-winning songwriters, the brothers Landreth. His debut EP, The Golden Age, from 2016, reached number 2 on the new releases and R&B soul iTunes charts. So, with that incredible introduction, I am welcoming you in. How are you, my dear friend?
I am blessed to be alive, blessed to be talking to you right now. It's good to see you always. Thank you for having me, and we can talk about some meaningful stuff for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. Jarreau and I, behind the scenes, we always have some really incredible, deep conversations. So I knew I had to grab you and pull you into the podcast and drop some really amazing nuggets of wisdom, as you always do.
Shout out to Virginia Tech, because that's how we met.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Jarreau and I go back all the way to Virginia Tech college days. And it's been so amazing to stay in touch over the years and, see each other's growth and support each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm really honored and blessed to have you here. I really am. So can you go ahead and introduce us a little bit more? Tell us a bit more about your journey and what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I mean, my story is kind of like that childhood dream turned career. From watching Disney at a very young age, and family and parents telling the story of how I would uh, play the movies, rewind them back, and watch them all over again until I knew every song, until I knew every line. And that's kind of been what my musical and acting career has been, in terms of just being a child of the movies and being a child of music and just a lover of those things. And even when I first, had my first solo in the 4th grade, I had been in choir from 3rd grade all the way through my freshman year of college. Then started to get into musicals and acting, kind of like later in the middle school into high school. And it wasn't until I was nominated for a Cappy Award, which is kind of like a prestigious like high school theater award in our area. And I was nominated by my peers. And so to have that recognition, it really started to make me look at the entertainment industry as a career a little bit seriously. And then once I got out of college, I was going to New York. I was doing the Broadway auditions, had been in commercials. I had done, all kind of stuff, short films. I'd really gone headfirst into that. And I've always been a firm believer of whatever door is open, the widest, that's the one you walk through. And if something is meant for you, that it'll be there. And then that's just kind of what happened with music. I love singing. I would sing everywhere all the time. And eventually after having done a lot of major things in acting, music was just that door that had opened. And joined a wedding band, and then started making my own music and started performing at shows. And it just became the thing where the door opened the widest. And so I think the other thing about it too, that's the most important thing, is you just find what is the thing that you're so passionate about, that no matter how many times you fail, you're just willing to do it over and over and over again until you get it right. And that's how I was with music. It was just something that I always wanted to experiment. I always wanted to study it a little bit further, just to try to figure out what it was that I loved so much about it. So I'm just, really grateful to have been on the path that I'm on. And now, through all of the things that I've learned and all the experiences I've had, I really want to send the elevator back down now to help others realize their dream as an artist and really see that they can do something productive with it.
Oh, that's beautiful, Jarreau. I love the concept of you reaching a point in your journey as an artist where now you want to take your lessons, take your expertise, and really give back, and help shape and mold other, let's say, aspiring artists like me, for example. I'm really so grateful because in the last few months, Jarreau and I, kind of teamed up and started to work together with you as my vocal coach. And it's honestly been such an incredible transformative journey. And I think it would be nice to kind of touch on that a bit more in terms of, you where you are now, and let's say in your coaching. Can you kind of describe to us a bit about that process? Like, what's your approach in terms of coaching and mentoring other artists, and what is sort of the overall transformation or impact that you have seen through working with other people?
Well, yeah, I'm really excited about the fact that we've been able to work together. Like we said, we've known each other since college. So to know each other across various points of life and kind of go our separate ways and then come back, and to really help you unlock this part of yourself has been really enjoyable to watch. And that's what I love with any client that I work with, because that's my goal. My goal is to really help them realize their true potential. And so I think the hardest part about coaching is, obviously we have what our desired outcome is, and we're trying to leverage all of the things that we've learned, and we want to make sure that the people we work with really know how knowledgeable we are. But everybody goes in different stages. And I think that's one of the exciting things, and also one of the challenging things about being a coach is, you have to meet people where they are. And that's really what I've kind of had to turn my focus on. And so when I work with a client, I always, allow for a free consultation, because I definitely want that to be kind of an icebreaker session. I never want to just go right into it and just get to work on things. My biggest thing is to make sure we're a fit first. And also tapping into my community and the resources of people that I've come to learn, come to know in my time over my career. Because if I'm not the one that can help you get to where you are, then obviously I want to direct you in the position of somebody who can. Because I believe that's what helps cultivate this community. So first I like to have that first session, and then from there, like, really just see what a person is comfortable with, and where they are in terms of, where they are in recording, or if they're still writing, what is that process like, and just helping them to unlock certain skills. And then through the voice, it's really just a matter of understanding first that the voice is a connective system. It's a part of our entire body. It's not just separate of itself. So I really do work with my clients to make sure that we understand that if one part of you is off, it's going to affect everything. And you're not really going to have, you know, the maximum effect with your voice if you're not connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's been a really great lesson. That's something I've been learning from you as well is, yeah, the concept of the interconnectedness and the voice itself. That's really something I'd love to explore with you more, like today in this conversation. The idea of the voice, as a tool for self-expression and for artistry, and even in terms of our sense of power, our sense of identity. I think these are all themes that I've been reflecting a lot on, as a singer, as an artist, through our work together, through growing in confidence, with vocal expression in particular. I'm curious, what has been your personal experience growing in your confidence with the voice? What has been your journey of sort of unlocking the different aspects of your voice? What is that like for you?
It's a great question. It goes back to when I was younger. I was bullied a lot in elementary school, late elementary school, and in like most of middle school. So having to channel that and find a way where I could be powerful in the sense of what was going to give me the most strength that nobody would mess with me. Right. And so when I would sing, people knew that that was my true power. And I would do it in a way where people could really see that it came from my soul. It came from deep down what I believed was my superpower. And that's how to me, that's how I gained friendships. That's how I gained a strong network. That's how I unlocked a lot of opportunities for myself, was because I had this perfect union of my voice and my personality. Because it was guided by that. Like I said, I'm a child of the movies. I'm a child of, a lot of the music that I learned growing up was because I had heard it in movies. So that the fact that I could connect those things and make it into this package that I could confidently go out and perform, it unlocked a sense of confidence in me and worth. And so that's really what I again, it's what I want to do with my clients, because I want people to feel like they can be their most genuine, true, powerful selves. And, even in the example that you gave, just in the time that we worked together, I've seen you come out of your shell at a time when life seemed very unsure and life just seems so unpredictable. And yes, it's still going to be that way. But I think the most important thing to learn here for a lot of people is that there is a capability for everybody to unlock whatever that thing is for you that really makes you feel like you found your sense of self. And so for me with the voice, that's really what it was for me. It just, when I could easily walk up to, I'm just using the, small example, when I could walk up to a table of girls at the table or whatever, and just, at lunch, and, just start singing some of our favorite songs, and just seeing the way that people would light up. And that was, and anyone, seeing the way that people would light up and bringing so much joy to people in a time where we could just forget where we were in that moment. I knew I had the capability to do that. So yeah, that's just been my goal with a lot of this stuff and this journey that I've been on, is I want other people to feel what I've felt for so long.
Oh, that's beautiful, Jarreau. I'm really sorry to hear that you were bullied as a kid. I don't know if that's something we've ever spoken about before, but I went through the same thing, actually. I also was bullied as a kid in middle school. And so much of that experience had to do with my voice and, not feeling safe to express that my voice, my feelings, my needs, my my real personality, and that translated into music as well. It translated into, sharing a gift that I've had, since I was born. But I think the way that you've been able to turn that experience of bullying, that kind of pain, you've really channeled it. You've really transformed it into your purpose. Like, you've really owned that superpower because you realize the impact it has on others, to bring joy to people. It taps you into your own personal power, sharing this gift of song, of voice, and it improves other people's lives as well. So I thank you for sharing that piece of your story, because I think there may be a lot of people out there as well, who can relate, to going through some sort of bullying, some sort of experience where they probably felt powerless, probably felt invisible.
And the important thing to learn too with this is you're still going to be figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, come on as if I've solved it all.
Right.
And, this I have this magic potion for what it takes. I just know that there are certain things in life that help us to make things more enjoyable and to give us this sense of, a reason to wake up every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that every single day you're going to feel the exact same way about it. But if you know you have something in you that allows you to feel that more days than not, that's the true, unlocking of the power. So yeah, it's
That's
powerful that
beautiful.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to hear a bit more about your journey in terms of this concept of pivoting. So, over the last few years with COVID and all the crazy things of the world, there's been a lot of moments of uncertainty and chaos. There's been a lot of, I think, people in this world who've been faced with challenges where they have to pivot. They have to maybe veer off a certain path that they thought was a sure thing, or they thought, this is it. I'm on this path for forever. So I'm wondering if there's a part of your journey you'd love to share where you have sort of been forced to pivot in a sense.
Yeah, well, I've always been a believer that I say uh, that the grind never stops; it evolves.
Mm,
So one way or another, they say change is the only constant. So you're going to have to pivot at some point in your life. We all have those stages in life, and it's funny because sometimes my brain is wired based on, you think about how many years we are in school, right? And every 4 to 5 years, you're changing your situation. So depending on how long elementary school was, for me, it was through fifth grade. So you think like 5 years, you move to middle school, and like you go 6 to 9, right? And then that's 4 years. And then you're going to high school, that's 4 years, college, 4 to 5 years. So I've always had this mindset of every 4 to 5 years, I need to do an assessment of where I am and see, is it time to shift, or do I like where I'm at and I want to keep this going and just get better in this, this phase of life I'm in. So my mind really has always been conditioned to pivot. But, obviously with one of the biggest decisions in my life was obviously deciding to leave my full-time job back in 2018 to pursue music full time. That was a scary road, and it was something that I knew without the support of my family and just the way that life had kind of worked out, just being able to save some money, have some stuff in the bank as a cushion, I could make that choice confidently, knowing that I was still booking work and I was getting enough work to have gigs and still be able to save money on the side. Now, if you had told me that a pandemic was coming 2 years later, I probably would have held on to that job a little bit longer, but we don't know those things. And so when COVID happened, I had already come into that year really like in this sense of I'm investing money now, I'm taking shots, I'm taking risks, because I wanted the brand of my band and my sound to really expand to larger audiences. And so when COVID happened, that's when I really had to veer and figure out, okay, how can I do the grind a little bit differently? So then it switched to live stream, solo shows where I'm sitting here like right in front of the computer and I've got my my music on the side and I'm hitting play and I'm just singing into a screen to whoever's listening, or recording virtual concerts for vendors where they were having outdoor concerts. Just a lot of things just really had to shift, and I didn't have time to just sit and gloat in it. I might have spent the first couple of weeks binging shows that I'd never seen before. It was really COVID year was Game of Thrones year for me. So
me too.
Yeah. So it's like you take a couple of weeks and you reflect, but then after that you gotta, lace up your bootstraps and get to work. So I had been through that period for a little bit, and then, like I said, getting back in the flow of things. And then, this time last year, I had started having vocal issues. And then come to find out I had an ulcer on my vocal fold and I couldn't sing. And I really, even to this point now, I haven't performed since June of 2024. Wow. So, we're going on 9-10 months now.
Yeah.
And so this has been one of the biggest pivots in my entire life. And so to now get to a point where I still love what I do, and I'm like, if I can't do that, what can I do in place of it that I still stay involved and still have purpose? And so my next thing was, okay, how can I help somebody else get to where I've been and even ascend me? I think that's the biggest thing as a mentor, as a coach. If you're not working with the intent of your students surpassing you, then what are you doing it for? Like I want the people that work with me to learn from me and be better than me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they can do what I do to the degree I do it, but they might unlock something in them based on what I've said to them. So I think, in losing my voice, or at least, for an indefinite period of time, because I do believe deep down that I will perform again at some point in time. But I think in losing that, it helped me to really start going down a deeper journey of who I am now in this time, and how can I use that and what I've learned across a long time to serve others. Because I do believe that you don't just go through this and learn what you learn and then it just dies. There's ways that you can use it in other agencies and in other means.
Yeah, it's really reminding me of the concept of energy. That energy is never truly lost; it's just transformed. Or love, even that love is never truly lost; it's just transformed into something else. And thank you for sharing the story of losing your voice, because I know it can't be easy, to feel this sense of like you were going down this certain path and all of a sudden life kind of forces you to pivot and maybe tap into other abilities, maybe tap into other directions, other ways of operating in this world that you had never considered before. And I think there's a lot of power and strength and resilience in that type of journey, that you're sharing, where yes, it's painful, and yes, it can be a huge obstacle and it can feel like a huge loss. But you have found a way to pivot in a way that's truly transformational, not just for yourself, but for all the lives that you're impacting, all the clients that you work with, you're able to tap into these maybe hidden gifts that you didn't even know you had as a coach, which I think is incredible. I mean, this is basically what I would call alchemy,
Well,
transforming. Yeah.
I definitely want to say I always knew I had these gifts.
Oh, okay.
And I'm saying that not to be arrogant in any way.
Mhm.
It's mainly because, just like how I was saying in school, I found kind of what my power was. Another one of those things was people just would come and talk to me. I
Mm.
had a lot of friends who were going through relationship stuff and coming to
Mhm.
me asking me for advice, or people just going through the day-to-day stuff and just found it calming or found it soothing to talk to me. I've always prided myself on being a person that I just wanted to help people, and I felt like I knew I had a lot of knowledge, and I knew I had a desire to help those I care about. And so I always knew I wanted to help people in some form or fashion, whatever that looked like. And I knew that even as I was in the prime of my career, I wanted to help other people realize what I've seen and what I've heard, because it's, especially in the DC area community, I want us to be taken seriously as a music market. And there's been so many times where we've been kind of like seen as the stepchild to New York and LA and Nashville and even Atlanta, but there's so much talent here. And,
Mm.
we are, what I love about us is we are always looking for ways to help each other. We're competing for the same stages, but we're not cutting each other below the knees to do it. We're like, hey, if I can't do it, I know 7 people who can do that and be
Mhm.
great at it. And so I really wanted to use the skills that I have learned along the way to really help my community get stronger, so that people could see us as being a serious music town. So I say all that because I truly did believe that I had ways to influence people and ways to encourage people, but it was just, how do I do that more? Like, how do
Mhm.
I do it to a point where more people take notice? And really, I've just kind of landed on just focusing on providing the value.
Mhm.
And if I keep focusing on value, everything else will take care of itself.
Mm. Yeah, I think those are beautiful words of mentorship and leadership as well. I really love how I've seen you grow, especially, pivoting away from singing and more into coaching over the last year. I've seen such a focus on community and tapping into community and, stepping into the spotlight more as that type of leader, of mentor, of someone who can really ignite and inspire, like your local community where you currently are. And I think that's something I would love to see more and more, in this world. And I think you're a really beautiful role model, to inspire, maybe even through this episode, to inspire more people out there who actually they have these innate gifts, these innate leadership qualities, that they haven't really fully tapped into yet. And maybe this can be a moment of inspiration. Maybe this can be a call to action, to those who are watching, who have maybe felt the nudge towards leadership in some way, or towards mentorship in some way, but maybe have never seen an example of somebody who's done that and stepped into the forefront for their community. So I want to thank you, Jarreau, because that's a really powerful journey that you've shared with us today.
I appreciate it. I appreciate this opportunity to talk about it, because I think it's something that is not talked about enough. And again, I just want to reiterate that I'm still finding it. I'm still in it. I'm still discovering it. It's not like I have found the formula.
Right.
Now, if I have achieved in helping someone unlock stage one, then that's great. And that's all I can ask for, because I believe if one person is inspired by it, that somebody else will be too. There's just a ripple effect that will happen. Because ultimately, there will come a time in everyone's life, whether they want it to or not, where things change, not on our timeline. And we have to just, yes, feel the feelings. That's the other thing. You feel the feelings, but you need that in order to process how to move and when to move, and just do something. Just make a move.
Make a move. Yeah. Sometimes that's the hardest, is just taking that very first step, into something new. I think that might actually be the hardest step into the
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah.
So that's some good advice. Is there any final advice you'd like to leave us with in terms of for anybody who's currently struggling or feeling lost or feeling stuck on their journey? Any final nuggets of wisdom you'd love to share to help someone move forward?
Don't tell yourself no before someone else does. What do I mean by that? Too many times, and I've struggled with this currently as I'm going through this pivot that I'm in. There's so many times where we look at opportunities and we have canceled ourselves out of something because we've thought we're not good enough, or we're not at the level that we want to be yet to go after it. And a friend of mine said to me that if you're 60% qualified, then you're qualified. You need to go after it. If you check off, you don't have to check off every single thing on the list, but if you check off a good number of them, you should go after it and challenge yourself and see where you get with it. But the biggest mistake that a lot of us make is we tell ourselves no before we even start. And then, or because we're so worried about somebody else telling us no. And that's hypothetical, So to anybody out there, I would just say, give yourself permission to go after it. And then if someone tells you no along the way, then be good in knowing that you made an effort. So, but just don't tell yourself no first.
Yes, just don't tell yourself no. Don't be the one to tell yourself no. Get out of your own way, people. Get out. Oh, love that, bro. Thank you. Very, very, very helpful advice for sure. Very relatable too. My friend, this has been such an awesome talk. So much gold, so much wisdom. I really, there's so many juicy nuggets to take away. Before we say goodbye, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find your work? Anything you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, main thing is you can go to the World Wide Web, jarreauwilliams.com. You can also, all of my socials and all of my materials are there, music videos, songs. And then hopefully, once I know what this baby's gonna do, when I'm back out again, I'll post dates and things like that on my website. Primarily I'm using Instagram as well, but on my website, if anybody out there is interested in vocal coaching or a vocal consultant, maybe you're working on a project, you're in the studio and you're just trying to get that extra edge on your project, or maybe you're confused about what the release process is like, or you just want somebody as a mentor and an advisor to kind of hold your hand through it. You can reach out to me. We can talk about that. Also, for anyone that's local to the DMV area, maybe an artist who's looking, to get in on a project. One thing I also love to do too is I love to help do like behind the scenes footage. So like if anybody's shooting a music video and they kind of want somebody behind the scenes on that to capture, some short videos and some photos and things like that. For social media, I can help with that as well. And like I said, if anybody needs any sort of consultations or any sort of advice, they can definitely come my way. So JarreauWilliams.com is the hub for everything.
Perfect.
And then if you want to follow me on socials, all of my information is there.
Perfect. And are you still offering Zoom coaching, or is it just in person? Or do you do
No, I do both. I do virtual and in person. Virtual, these days is just easier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that we can just be in the comforts of our own spaces and just do some fun work together. Just really quick about the type of things that I focus on when I'm coaching folks. We do sort of like script analysis. I really like to gauge kind of what your emotional connection is to the songs that you're doing. I will also, offer to go in studio with you if need be. And like I said, we just kind of take it where it is and where you are, and get you to be the best vocalist that you can be.
Yes. Yeah. And Jarreau has been my vocal coach the last few months, and I can definitely say I've noticed a huge boost in my confidence and my presence and, just passion for singing. Honestly, it really makes such a difference to have, an expert and a mentor, someone who really can hold your hand and meet you where you're at and help you reach your unique goals. It makes the biggest difference just to help you get out of your own way. So I am super, super grateful. I might not have even started this podcast without the vocal coaching. Who knows? Who knows? But the ripple effect, right? The seeds that you plant through being of service to others is really incredible. So I'm grateful. And thank you so much, Jarreau. What an incredible episode. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. And thank you everybody who's been watching or listening. Thanks for tuning in to the Sacred Style podcast, and I will catch you next time. Take care. Subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're new here. It really means a lot to help grow the channel and impact more beautiful souls like you. And remember, keep flowing and growing, my friend. I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.